Well, hello world, welcome to Raccoon Point Studios. I'm Sean Bombs, and today we're taking a look at Universal Audio's Galaxy pedal. And this is a take on the Space Echo. This is the same algorithm that they use in the plugin. You're going to get the same sound, but now you have it in a pedal form, so you can use it live. If you really like that plugin, then you'll probably really like this pedal. But the cool thing is you can use it for more than just guitar. It's very versatile. Now, the stereo implementation isn't going to do a pan left-right type of delay, but it does have this kind of slow swirl around the speakers. And it definitely sounds cooler, I think, in stereo than it does in mono. So we're going to go through the controls and then we'll get some sounds going, all right? So first you have your echo rate, and that's going to be the speed of the delay. So to the left is the slowest, to the right is the fastest for any given tape head. Then you have your feedback. So the further right you go, the longer the feedback, and it'll go into self-oscillation. And then you have your echo volume, and it's kind of a mix knob, if you will. I don't feel like it's a 50-50 thing. You kind of can go all the way up to 75% and still have your full signal, but once you go past that, then you start going into completely wet. Now these bottom knobs have two different functions. This is the input volume, so that's going to drive the virtual tape harder. Then you have dwell, which is going to drive into the reverb harder. Then you have the reverb volume. It's a spring reverb. So you have this switch right here, so that's main when it's up. Down is when it's alt. So when it's in the main, it's input volume dwell, reverb volume. But when it's in the alt function, then you can change the tape age, which is going to give you more of a weathered tape sound, some flanging, some chorusing, maybe a few dropouts. Then you have your bass, which is going to go at noon. It's going to be the same signal without any loss of low end, and you can either increase it to the right or decrease it to the left. And then the same thing with the treble here. If it's in the middle, it should be your typical signal, and then you can brighten it up or you can darken it up. So over here you have your head select, which is 1, 2, and 3, and if you use the tap function, head 1 is going to give you a dotted 16th note, head 2 will be a dotted 8th note, and then 3 would be a quarter note. Number 3 would probably be the easiest to use for any beginner because it's going to fall on 1 and 2 of your typical beat pattern. And then you can combine heads. So if you hit this switch, now you're combining head 1 and 2, head 2 and 3, head 1 and 3, and then all the heads together. So that's pretty cool. So now to these functions here, this is obviously on. And then if you tap this, you're going to get your tap tempo, right? And if you hold it, you have 3 different things you can choose from using the app. So you can do a ramp down, you can do a ramp up, and you can just do a self-oscillation type of thing where it'll just start getting away. The repeats will get louder and louder and start distorting and everything. The one thing that I'll say is I wish it had an expression jack and or a MIDI jack. So I don't know why they left that out, especially for a time-based effect. Alright, so let's get into some sounds. Here's my clean channel, and it's the Strymon Iridium on the round setting. If you follow the channel, you know that this is what I use on the Iridium 90% of the time. And here we go. So hopefully you could hear that the delay is not ping-ponging, but there's some kind of swirl. It's very slow. So let's move on to head 2. So you can hear the repeats on that one with the same feedback. Actually, we're starting to self-oscillate quicker. So another thing with this is the tap function. You will hear it pitch when you're tapping it. So right now I have it for a ramp down sound. It also has trails mode. This is buffered regardless, so you might as well just leave it on trails mode. That means when I turn this off, the delay will still trail on, and I'll be able to play, you know, whatever else with no delay after that. So let's mess around with the tape age. Let's mess around with the input volume. So if the input volume is all the way down, no echo. I like it a little bit above noon. And let's mess around with the bass and treble now. With them in the middle, it kind of molds and hugs the signal a little bit more. And when you have less bass and more high end, it actually becomes a little bit separate from the original signal. But if you wanted to have the delays hide a little bit underneath, but still have that input gain, you could roll off that high end. So there you could have it poking in and out of the signal. You still hear the delay, you still feel it and everything like that. You still have that dreamy type thing happening, but it's not poking out. So when you add the reverb in, now you could take off the delay altogether and just have the reverb. Okay, and let's turn it all the way up. I'll leave it there for now just so we can hear what this dwell does. So it gives it a little bit of dirt to the reverb, and it makes it a little bit fuller sounding. I feel like it fattens up the sound a little bit, but it also can muck it up. Let's blend this. I'm gonna leave it the dwell mid. And we're gonna add this echo in. To me, that sounds beautiful. You can still play around that sound without it getting in the way. It just becomes a part of you. Now we have it on 1 and 2, which 1 is the 16th dotted and 2 is the 8th dotted. We'll see what that sounds like. So here is 2 and 3 together, and that's an 8th dotted with a quarter note. I feel like this kind of thing, if you add the reverb, which I'm going to do, could be more dreamy with your chords. 1 and 3 is your 16th dotted and your quarter note together. Here's all 3 heads, and I would recommend, if you're going to use all 3 heads together, that you have your echo volume a little bit lower, and it can kind of give you a sense of reverb. And then if you take the treble down, maybe add some low end. That's awesome. I mean, you can have the sense of reverb or a space echo without it being in the way. It just feels good. It felt good to play to that. And you could probably play. If you wanted to be a blues Martian or something. So I'm going to bring in the big muff. Because to me, pedals don't mean nothing if they can't play well with others. So I'll tell you right now, I feel like the Cloudburst and this Galaxy are a match made in heaven. They sound really, really good together. They work really well together. Even if the delays are long with the feedback going on, a little bit of self-oscillation, and the fuzz works really good too. We're going to go back to the quarter note. just want to show you the self oscillation real quick. So now we're going to go Big Muff into the Galaxy, into the Cloudburst. The only other thing I didn't show you was the app, which I'm going to do right now. In the app, you can turn on trails, off trails, and then you can switch the foot switch mode to where this tap tempo can be something else other than a tap tempo. So you can have a effect on, effect off for the reverb, and then this side would just be for the delay. You can do that. Me personally, I will stick to effect and performance. If you have any questions, let me know down below. Subscribe, hit the bell, hit the like. If you're into this kind of stuff, spread the word. Thank you. Bye-bye.